Good morning. Good morning to all the students of grade 6. Likita, Likit, Maunika, Vainavi, Chaitanya Sevasai, Naga Chaitanya, Ishwar, Uha, Sai Datta, Lasya, Rohit, Sai Krishna, Tejant and Yukta. Good morning. Good morning to each and every student. Today, you're going to learn about the new chapter, the most precious thing for all of us, that is chapter 14, water. Part 1. What is the formula for water? H2O is the formula of water. Water, a substance composed of the chemical elements hydrogen and oxygen, and existing in gaseous, liquid and solid states. You know, water in liquid state is what? That is what H2O in liquid state is water, in gaseous state it is water vapor, and H2O in solid state is ice. It is one of the most plentiful and essential compounds, a tasteless, odorless meaning you don't have, water doesn't have a smell. At room temperature, it has the important ability to dissolve many other substances. Water, a substance composed of the chemical elements hydrogen and oxygen, existing in gaseous, liquid and solid states. It is one of the most plentiful and essential of compounds, a tasteless and odorless liquid at room temperature. It has the important ability to dissolve many other substances, as I mentioned earlier. Indeed, the versatility of water as solvent is essential to living organisms. Like life is believed to have originated in aqueous solutions of the world's oceans, and living organisms depend on aqueous solutions such as blood and digestive juices for biological processes. Water also exists on other planets and moons, both within and beyond the solar system. In small quantities, water appears colorless, but water has actually an intrinsic blue color caused by slight absorption of light at red wavelengths. Water cycle, it is the circulation of water through the process of evaporation or condensation as rain or snowfall. Water cycle is like a ring. In nature, the water cycle takes place from sea to land and back to sea again. As you have learned in your primary classes, that is 3rd, 4th and 5th, you might have drawn this diagram of water cycle. Please do not draw a cycle diagram in water. This is water cycle. Water gets evaporated on land in the form of water vapor. It goes to the atmosphere. Later on it gets precipitated or cools down and comes back onto the land in the form of rain. And this cycle continues. The 3 states of water. Water can exist in all the 3 states, that is solid, liquid and gas. Liquid state, the water that we use in everyday life is a liquid. It is called the liquid state of water. In gaseous state, we have learned that on heating, water evaporates to form its vapor. Water vapor is its gaseous state. Solid state, water turns into ice on cooling. Ice is the solid form of water. These 3 states of water are inconvertible to each other. That is, we can change it from one state to another. Here you can see in the figure 3 states of water. So when you heat water, it changes to steam. If you cool it, it changes to ice. So if you cool, that is, if you heat ice, it changes to water. If you heat water, it will change to water vapor or steam. So it is called interconvertible. Interconvertible. Repeat 2 to 3 times. Interconvertible. So water can be changed from water to water vapor or water to ice. So from water to ice it is cooling. By cooling you can do it. From water to water vapor you have to heat it. So water vapor cools to become water. Water cools to become ice. So come back to the screen. The easy interconvertibility of water from one state to another state is its availability in all the parts of the earth and throughout the year. Evaporation. The process of changing water to its vapor form or gaseous form is known as evaporation. Evaporation takes place from open surface of water at all the time, day and night. Evaporation of water takes place continuously from oceans, rivers, lakes, wells, and soil. Oceans, seas, rivers, lakes, ponds, and wells together are often known as water bodies. During the daytime, sunlight falls on the water in oceans, rivers, lakes, the fields, roads, rooftops, and other land areas also receive sunlight. The sunlight also carries heat with us. As a result, water from oceans, rivers, lakes, and the soil and other land areas gets continuously changed into vapor. Thus, water vapor gets continuously added to air due to evaporation. As of now it's raining as there is cyclone, that is we are having continuous rain. So next, transpiration. Transpiration, it is the loss of water from the leaves of plants in the form of water vapor. So whenever you hear the word transpiration, you need to remember leaves. Leaves give out water vapor. So that leaving out or loss of water vapor from the leaves of green plants is known as a transpiration. Every plant, whether it is in a crop field, a forest, or on the roadside, or in a kitchen garden, transpires to give off water vapor. The amount of water vapor that goes into air through the process of transpiration is very huge. The next part or the term you have to learn is about condensation. Condensation, the process of conversion of water into liquid form of water is called condensation. The process of condensation is opposite to evaporation. Just one example I would like to bring. You just take a cool drink bottle and leave it on a table. Wait for some time, you can see droplets of water on the surface of the bottle. This is due to condensation. So water vapor in the atmosphere touches the cooler part of the cool drink and changes to water vapor, and those droplets of water come and fall on the table. So how are the clouds formed? The climate close to the earth's surface is warm. It gets cooled as one goes up in atmosphere. Water vapor being lighter rises up in the atmosphere. At the upper layer of the atmosphere where the temperature is lower, the vapor gets condensed into tiny water droplets and forms clouds. As you all know that this chapter is already dealt for you in your 3rd, 4th and 5th classes. So this is cloud formation. So precipitation, what is meant by precipitation? Clouds carry small droplets of water in them. It may so happen that many droplets of water come together to form larger size drops of water. Such drops of water may become so heavy that they begin to fall. Falling of water droplets or drops is called a precipitation. Rain is, what is rain? If the water during the precipitation remains liquid till it reaches the surface of the earth, we call it as rain. Then what is meant by hail or snow? Sometimes precipitation may be in the form of hail or snow. Water in a hail or snow is in its frozen or solid form. What do you mean by dew? Many times, especially during winter nights, the air near the surface becomes quite cool. As a result, the water vapor present in it condenses to form water droplets. These water droplets appear as dew. Most of you might have been observing your cricket matches. The dew factor on the ground plays very important role for a cricket match. So when the climate gets very cool, uh, this vapor, the grass blades or the window panes gets cooled, and when the water vapor touches this window pane, or you can see your car early in the morning when you get up and see the glasses of your car, the back glass or the front glass or the windows, you can see big droplets of water. So how does that water form there? That is called dew. At night, the temperature gets so cool that the glass becomes so cool. When water vapor touches that, big droplets of water form there. That is called dew. Now come back to the screen. Water back to ocean. How does the water get back to the ocean? The water that falls on the land as rain and snow sooner or later becomes and flows in the form of canals, lakes, that is into rivers, and then finally the river joins the sea. This may happen in many ways. So you can see the picture of the water cycle here, how the snow or the water joins into seas and oceans. What are the uses of water? Wow, you know how many uses are there for water. Once try to spend a day without water, you will know the importance of water. So let us go through the importance of water here and uses of water. It is needed for drinking, bathing, washing, cleaning of vessels, toilets, flushing, etc. Our body contains about 70% of water, therefore, water is very much essential for our life. Water helps animals and plants to cool. Water is essential for the generation of or germination of seeds. Water is required for irrigation of crops. Water is used to generate electricity. Water wheel is used to run flour mills. Water is used in many industries like paper, rayon, petroleum, refining, fertilizers, dyes, drugs, and other chemical industries. Water is used in car radiators to keep the engine cool. In cool countries or cold countries, people use water to warm their houses. Water is used to keep the things cool. So then, what are the sources of water? Rivers and springs. Most of the water which human beings use for drinking, washing and farming comes from rivers and springs. We never go to oceans to get water and use. So the water which is available in seas and oceans are useless. I mean, useless for us to drink or use. So we need fresh water only for this purpose. The river flows down the mountainside and across the land, finally flowing into a sea or an ocean. Oceans and seas. Most of the water on the earth is found in the oceans and seas. However, the water found in the oceans and seas is not fit for drinking or agricultural purpose as it contains large amount of salt. However, ocean acts as a habitat for large number of plants and animals. Here is the difference between sea and ocean. Snow. What do you understand by snow? Some regions of the earth are covered with snow, especially during the winters. Water formed by melting of snow is another source of water. This snow melts slowly. Sometimes this water flows down in the form of streams and rivers. Streams and rivers are another source of water. Groundwater. The groundwater is actually rainwater which mainly comes from seepage, meaning going through the pores of land, soil of water accumulated under the ground. So we have already shown, I'm going to show at the bottom the underground water. What is meant by water table? If you take the soil from the ground, it has air as well as water. As you go down, the amount of water increases and air decreases. A level below surface where it only water only it is water is called the water table. Here you can see the water table, and I shall show you the color picture of this water table. So the surface of this water is called water table. Lakes and ponds, these are small reservoirs of water. These are created by collection of rainwater in low-lying areas. Seepage from the groundwater reserves also adds to the water in lakes and ponds. The rain is very important source of water for all of us. All resources of water are fed mainly by rains. What are natural calamities of what given by water? The conditions of flooding and drought are called natural calamities. When the water is excess, it is called flooding and it is called a natural calamity. If the water is very scarce, then it is called drought and it is also called as natural calamity. Then what do you understand by drought? If it does not rain for a year or more at a place, the soil will lose its water by evaporation and becomes dry. Water will also be lost through transpiration process from the plants. As I mentioned earlier, rivers, ponds and wells will dry and the water table would lower down. All this will affect the humans, animals and wild plants. It is continuous. If it continues for 1 or 2 years, consequently, it results in drought. You just see the picture of drought. Dried crops. You cannot get anything from this crop. Let us know what are the consequences of drought. The result of drought may be no crops. The availability of food and fodder will decrease. The overall consequence of such a situation will lead to loss of life of humans and animals. Flood. In the case of continuous rains, the water level of rivers, lakes and ponds will rise. The soil surface will get laden with water, resulting into flood. Consequences of flood. When the soil gets too much of water, air in the soil comes out of it. Due to lack of air, the animals living inside the soil also come out of it. Hence, rainfall also results in the loss of crops due to flood. What are the factors responsible for flood? A number of factors are responsible for flood. These factors can be intensity and duration of rainfall, soil condition and presence of plants or trees on the ground. How do you conserve water? It is important, very important that water should be used carefully. We should take care that water should not get wasted. It is not necessary that the water used in the garden is fit for drinking, yet most often we water the garden with the drinking water supplied by the corporation. We should use water for gardening that has already been used in the kitchen for washing vegetables and fruits, etc. Always be careful that the water tank in your house doesn't overflow when it is being filled. Don't use a hose pipe to wash your car or scooter, use a bucket instead. If you leave the tap running while brushing your teeth, about 16 liters of water get used up. Fill a mug with water and use instead. What is meant by rainwater harvesting? Water harvesting is the activity of collection of rainwater directly by various means. Harvested water can either be used immediately or it can be stored for later use. In Kerala and Mizoram, where it rains almost the whole year around, small tanks are used to collect rainwater, which drains from rooftops through pipes into these tanks. This water is used directly. In a place like Delhi, where the monsoon lasts for 3 months, it is more useful to collect the rainwater as groundwater. Here you can see how the rainwater can be used from the roof. The water is collected through the pipe and stored in the ground as groundwater, and later on through the hand pump we can utilize that water. So with this we conclude this part as part 1 chapter water.